the dingo. Serenity now!
Do not fully understand.
Come here, my little friend.
Starting tonight, we're having a little sales contest.
Hello, what have we here?
Hello? Hello. Why don't you get your brass balls and come up here, buddy?
We're seeing some shit we ain't never seen before, kid.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
Cut! Get Bill?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another Night Talk Live. Live. We have a fantastic show for you this evening. Yes. We got a lot on the docket. Just a lot of things to get to. It's just me.
Hello?
Hello, how are you doing?
Hello?
I hear you. Hello.
Hello?
We have some news about Montana Manwolf. We also have a story about a possible UFO on Oklahoma highway. We got some reptilian conspiracies to run down. You like that? You like the reptilians? And we might have a road rage story about shit. You like shit? You like piss? Do you like to be beaten in the face? Do you like to be shit on? Do you like to be slapped around and called names? Can I tap dance on your penis? Can I kick you? Can I kick you flat in the balls? Okay. All right.
Okay.
No, I said okay. Okay. All right. I'm done. Show's over.
Okay.
Yes, it's just me right now. I don't know if anybody's going to be coming on the show. Clown Baby said hypothetically, he might be on the show. But I don't know. I don't know if he will. And it's okay. It's okay if he wants to pop in. It's okay if he doesn't want to pop in. The phone lines will be open at some point here in the near future. And I'll just talk with you here a little bit before I actually get into the stories. God, I've been watching so much video game news because of the E3 press conference announcing all the video games coming out, and I haven't really delved into video game news. You know, it's not really what we do on the show anymore. But for whatever reason, this time of year, the past month or two, I've been dipping my toes back in the video games, and there's a lot of good-looking games coming out. The one that really has captured my attention and a lot of other people's attention is Cyberpunk 2077. It kind of looks amazing, and I wonder if I can play a little bit of this for everyone out there. It kind of looks like, I don't know if anybody's a fan of the role-playing game Shadowrun, where there's like a lot of cyberpunkers in the future, and they jack into the internet, and they do a bunch of shenanigans. That's what it reminds me.
In 2077, they voted my city the worst place to live in America. Main issues, sky-high rate of violence, and more people living below the poverty line than anywhere else.
What about people with mohawks? That's a problem, isn't it? Oh, listening to that music. Oh, yeah.
Can't deny it, it's all true. But everybody still wants to
They're doing meth on the streets.
This city's always got a promise for you. Might be a lie.
They're on the computer.
An illusion.
They're in a holographic universe.
Just around the corner. And it keeps you going.
They're kicking people on the ground. of the playing pole in the future. Beating robots up in the future. They're taking taxis in the future.
It's a city of dreams. And
They're
I'm a
driving
big
cars in the
dreamer.
future. This looks good. You can just look up Cyberpunk 2077. It looks like a compelling story. Although I didn't see much gameplay in this trailer. And hopefully the cinematics don't oversell it. I'm hoping for like an open world kind of GTA kind of thing in the future with a more fleshed out multiplayer online experience. I'm not asking for much, but that's what I want. I like this future stuff. I've been playing Fallout 3 again for the past few days. Just kind of dip my toes back in, getting a feel for role-playing games, and I enjoy it. I like the future kind of scenarios that Bethesda puts out. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This is not Bethesda. This is some other company. I think something PC. It looks good. And there's a lot of interesting games coming out. And a lot of shit, too. You know, you expect some innovation from some of these game companies. And it seems to be a lot of retread. And they just improve the graphics like by 5 to 10%. So, ay. That's it. Gaming news. Show's over. Gotta go. All right. We'll move on. We'll move on to some cryptozoology news. I'll read this first story about the Montana Manwolf. Then I'll open up the phone lines, okay? All right. You're with me. You are with me. Here we go. The Montana Manwolf Report. Another cryptid canid. Canine, I suppose. This comes from LindaGodfrey.com. She is just a prolific author and investigator, author, writer, researcher, all this stuff. She's got a great site and series of books out there. Here we go. There's been a lot of excitement in the past few weeks over a wolf-like animal shot by a rancher near Denton in north central Montana. It's some kind of canid, most experts agree, and possibly some type of wolf-dog hybrid. A few have gone so far as to call it a dogman or even a were-dog, although it's only been seen running on all fours. This week I received a Montana sighting report describing something much more like a typical dogman report in terms of size, appearance, and behavior. The witness had seen the news photos and felt that he could reveal what he has personally seen. At my request, he also drew the attached sketch of what he observed standing at the tree line of his own backyard less than a year ago. It occurred only 150 miles southwest of Denton, near the northern edge of the Beaver Head Deer Lodge National Forest and Wise River. Just a glance at the map will confirm what a great habitat it would be for a wild canid. The witness has since moved from the area. He said, I could call him Zach here, but I do have his full name for contact info. He's in his mid-20s, and at the time of the event worked in the Environmental Science Department of the state's Conservation Corps. Here is his own account of the 2017 incident. Well, it's quite long, but I'll read it because we got nothing but time. All right. I lived alone, and in this remote location, we don't have cable, so the only option is satellite TV. Is that the only option? Don't you have Wi-Fi? Or can't you just read a magazine or a book or beat off into the toilet? There's plenty of options for you, pal. Only option, satellite TV. It was a humid summer night in July, and the TV was acting up, so I needed to go out and just readjust the satellite like usual. I took a flashlight, and when I went outside, it was unusually quiet. Like so silent, it was unnerving. I brushed the thought off and went up to the dish, which is in the corner of my backyard. I went to work, making sure all the wires were all right, pointing to a different angle. Suddenly, I heard a small snap of a stick to my left and turned the flashlight to the direction and saw a creature standing there. I got a good look at it for what seemed like an eternity, but it was only about 10 seconds. I slowly backed off and ran back to my house and locked all the doors and windows. The creature was unlike anything I've ever seen before. When I shined the light at it, The first thing I saw was the head. It had cropped ears that pointed upwards. Its snout was narrower than a bear and longer, and I could make out large teeth protruding from the jaw. Its eyes were deep yellow, amber shade, it seemed, to reflect the light off of the flashlight I was shining at it. The body was muscular and huge. It had long arms that appeared to be longer than its legs, like a typical Dogman. You know, I had Jack Carry on. We talked about Dogman a little bit, man dog, if you will, and the common story is people who run into these creatures and see them, they have extremely long arms that fall past their knees. It's very interesting. The body was muscular. It had long arms that appeared to be longer than its legs, broad shoulders that it tapered into a skinnier waist. It was slightly crouched over when I saw it, and one hand wrapped around the small tree. I could make out the legs, which looked similar to a dog's legs. It had obvious hocks. I guess that's the crook, the backwards knee area. I'm just taking a guess there. I'm not familiar with dog anatomy that much. Even with the crouch position, it was about my height, which is 6 foot. Standing up to its full height, this creature could easily be 6 or 7.5 feet tall. The fur was black and thicker around the neck and chest, and the bottom half significantly so. I don't know if it was aggressive or not. Was it observing me or stalking me? For a creature this large, it was deceivingly silent. It got within 15 yards of me without me noticing it. All I knew, I needed to get out of there and not find out. I don't live on the property anymore, but after the event, I never had another face-to-face encounter. But I would hear sounds in the wood I cannot explain. They would start off relatively quiet and work their way to a furious howl, screams, then back down quiet again. I don't know if this was the same thing because it could be local wildlife. Once I got back to the house, I opened a window closest to where I saw it and began to shine a light exactly where it was, but it was gone. It was still dead silent outside when I had the window open. Some nights it would just be very quiet outside, and others it'd be like normal. There you go. There is the sighting of a 17 report of a Dogman encounter in Montana. But what the story she's referencing, Wolf Dog, Montana. That's the story she was originally referencing right here, and I'll bring this up. Is a wolf dog shooting in Montana draws international attention, and you can see this thing. I have it right here on the screen. It looks like it does look like a wolf dog hybrid. Cryptozoology is about studying the hidden and unknown animals that are based upon legend and evidence. Coleman says. Okay, so there's this picture up here. It does look like maybe a wolf had sex with a dog and produced this offspring. It doesn't look that out of the ordinary, but I guess this story provoked the original one I just read about someone running into a Dogman. And I like the theory of Dogman. I like those stories of man or of Dogman because it runs in an opposite direction of Bigfoot. Because Bigfoot, you know, you could probably say, you know, it's a human ape hybrid that didn't go along the same evolutionary path as mankind. You could probably explain it away in science in some way. I'm sure Darwin has something to say about this. He died. I'm sure he does. It's probably more likely to find. You could probably convince an anthropologist, hey, Bigfoot exists, Sasquatch exists, but you'd be probably hard to press to convince him a man dog exists, because where in nature do you see that kind of creature of a half man, half any other kind of beast other than legends and fairy tales and mythology? You can get around it with Sasquatch because of the missing link and evolution. Seems like it's much more plausible. I'll open up the phone lines right now, 614-388-9109. You can call in with your favorite man-dog theory, possibly Bigfoot theory, or Bigfoot habits, sightings, bathroom habits of the Bigfoot. I'm kind of curious. I should ask Jack Carey about that. I know he, on his site, they do have stool samples of Sasquatch, and some pretty good evidence over there at the Paranormal Research Intelligence. Need to get into that stuff because those are droppings left behind by an animal. You can probably tell what they eat. Possibly even get some DNA from that sample. Curious about that. Curious about the Bigfoot shit. Curious about Dogman shit. It's left behind evidence. You're gonna want that evidence for later to prove your case. You're gonna need that, especially in a courtroom when you're being judged about your crazy beliefs. Oh boy. What about alien shit? That's something. No one talks about that. All right, I will move on to the next story. Let's just rock. Let's just rock over there. Come on, let's rock. We're gonna rock over there.
Hello?
We're rocking over there.
Guitar.
All right, guitar. Teddy Spaghetti, you are on the air.
Hey, Mike, what is up? We talking about Dogman shit?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, any kind of evidence of Dogman. You know, if you're a living creature, you leave behind something, some kind of waste. I know Jack Harry, who I had on the show, he does collect evidence, all kinds of evidence from Bigfoot to Sasquatch, whether it's broken twigs, fur, skin, pictures, and even droppings, waste, shit. So why not Dogman shit?
Well, my question about the Dogman shit is, does it turn white after a while?
Why would you say that? Because it's like a werewolf kind of thing?
Well, you know, dogs. I mean, I haven't seen that many white turds around, but I remember playing around as a kid. You always see those white dog turds that are always chalky, and, you know, maybe you thought it was the neighbor's dog, but it could have been a Dogman. You never know. I mean, if their turds turn white, that is.
I guess I'm not familiar with that. That
you're not familiar with dog shit turning white?
No, I guess I didn't play with it like you did as a kid.
Oh, you missed out, my friend. You missed out.
I don't know if I did. I don't think I
after
did.
a while, I guess after a week, dog shit turns like white. I mean, I haven't seen it around for. I think even Sarah Silverman made a song about it, like whatever happened to all that white dog shit in the 70s. Yeah, it's common.
Well, it's not that common anymore.
But we fed them.
I mean, I have two dogs, and I pick up after them, and I don't see their waist turning white. I don't see that.
Well,
was that a 70s
that's
thing?
Your problem.
Yeah.
That's your problem. You're a responsible owner.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I just got to leave it out there longer, I guess.
Yeah. Let that shit just kind of age like a fine wine. But anyways, also on the Dogman topic, there used to be these legends of dog-headed tribes, like I think across many cultures, and I'm not sure if it was in the Bible or not, but it may have been in some holy book. But there used to, and I think even Magellan or whoever circumnavigated the world came across this dog-headed man tribe, and they were said to be very hostile and cannibalistic. So I always wondered if that tied in some way with the local dogman sightings, if these are like outshoots of a long-lost, weird dog-headed men tribe. You ever heard anything about that?
Yeah, Jack Carey, I'm referencing him because he knows about this stuff. There are links out there. I kind of read about it. There was like an island, I believe, near the Mediterranean where I believe a traveler stopped by to do trading with these creatures that were men with dog heads. And it was maybe around the time of Homer and Homer's Odyssey. It was years ago, far before the 70s, and there are various legends like that, and it's like, do you take those stories at face value, or do you say, oh, this is what this is just a fable. This is just a myth to tell a larger story. And the fact that they mention man dogs is not important to the overall story. I think I'm under the impression and belief at this point that when it comes to the Bible and old religious texts and just old writings, that people are actually describing what they saw, and they weren't really inventing too much. They were dictating what they saw, and that was that.
In the way that they could describe it.
Yeah.
At their current vocabulary skills or what technology was then. I think that whole Ancient Aliens kind of did that, wheels within wheels, that whole Ezekiel thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying that was just their way of describing the most technological, crazy thing they could think of. And, of course, wheels was like a marble back then. The wheel was a marble. So wheels within wheels would be like incomprehensible to them. But yeah, I get that. I'm kind of along the same token as that.
I just got a fantastic magazine that my girlfriend bought me. It's about Ancient Aliens. It's put out by the History Channel, and it goes through. It starts off, as a very kind of even-handed approach to Ancient Aliens and the possible origins of mankind. It starts off with like the Fermi's paradox and Drake's equation, and it goes into some of the Sumerian text. And just as you said, trying to put yourself in the mindset of these ancient people, trying to describe what they were seeing with the vocabulary that they had. So they may call them balls of light in the sky with wings attached. Well, they're just describing, what they could. They see wings on birds, and birds fly. So therefore, if it's in the sky, it must be flying, and therefore must have wings.
Yeah, the wings is kind of like giving it the characteristic of flight, not saying that it actually had wings. It's sort of their way of conveying the idea.
Yeah, Zachariah Sitchin's a big one, and with the 12th Planet, I believe he wrote, and his interpretation of Sumerian text. It's all fascinating to me, and I that's what I don't like about academia and this culture in the university. They claim to be open to new ideas and all this stuff, but they really don't allow researchers to go off the beaten path because fear of losing funding and into some of this stuff. And especially if you're an anthropologist or a paleontologist, you can't really stray from the path too much, else you're going to be drummed out of the academic circles.
Well, they're also afraid of cracking the paradigm, just the consensus that they have right now. Any rewriting of history would be so immense that I think there's a lot of fear behind that, too.
Yeah.
They just want to, like we always believed with Columbus in America, now we're going, well, maybe the Vikings were here. Oh, everybody was here now. But it's crazy. But that's not all I got. There is one more thing I wanted to talk to you before I get on, though. It's more about a subject I think y'all might be interested in looking into.
Yeah.
You ever heard of the mechanical elves?
I've heard of the clockwork elves when people do DMT trips.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. And it's always struck me as odd that different people not even hearing about it, have experienced this, I guess, when they go deeper, and they all describe the same trip. Now, I've done hallucinogens, and I've been around people, and I've been on the same wave as people where you experience the same peaks and valleys as the people you're tripping with. But I don't think I've ever tripped and described the same instance as somebody else who was tripping states away have. So I just thought that might actually be a cryptid in a weird sense.
I think I've listened to a lot of talks on Joe Rogan about people conveying their experiences while using hallucinogens, and some have similar experiences. Most of them view it as some sort of spiritual process, and they need to get rid of their demons, and they encounter different entities over there. It's a fascinating subject, and it's hard to talk about unless you experience it. I've done acid, I've done mushrooms, and I haven't experienced that level of hallucination or experience. I haven't done anything that serious.
Neither have I.
Curious about it, but I'd like to do it. I'd be curious to try it, like an ayahuasca or DMT, but I would need to go on a voyage quest for myself, some kind, and I need to be in amongst people, experienced shaman, to administer that and guide me through the process. It's not something you want to do at home listening to Led Zeppelin. That you got to have an atmosphere and an environment conducive to your spiritual journey. You just can't turn on the Wizard of Oz and expect to meet God.
I agree. We should set up a GoFundMe, and then all the listeners of this show should take a collective voyage and see if we can contact these mechanical elves.
I'm with you. Let's do it.
All right, man.
All right, thanks, Teddy.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Does anybody remember laughter?
Yes. Does anybody remember laughter? When it comes to researching these bizarre topics, I had one of my Facebook friends who is a successful magician, comedian on the college circuit. He posts up a lot of political stuff and likes to talk about belief systems. And he posted up something, said, asking his Facebook followers, which he has thousands, what is a belief that people have that you think is stupid? And people posted in there, people believe in UFOs, they're stupid. People believe in Sasquatch, they're stupid. People believe in God, they're stupid. And I posted up in there, people actually believe giants didn't exist. And he posted up, what? And I was like, yeah, people actually believe giants didn't exist. And I was like, well, there's a whole host of evidence ranging from articles from the late 1800s, early 1900s. There's quotes from former presidents. There are skeletal remains. There is the Smithsonian covering stuff up. There's a lot of evidence out there to suggest that there was a race of beings ranging from 7 foot, even up to, I've read, 20 foot and beyond. That these creatures, these giants, did exist. People don't believe it because it's not a part of our history. And he retorted back saying, "Oh, if it was real, it would be part of anthropology, and the university would have examined this evidence and then either included it or into the curriculum and would have been taught as human history." And my retort to him was, well, what if it didn't fall in line with their belief system, so they curated history to remove giants and any other kind of weird creature or fossil evidence and it's curated it. They just put it in a box and shoved it away because back in the 1800s, early 1900s, news didn't really travel as fast as it can now. And when you discovered a burial ground of giants, you could just swoop it up and put it away. And supposedly a good number of these giant skeletons still could exist in burial mounds, which are, in my understanding, a good chunk of the burial mounds is under Native American ownership and possession. And they probably don't want that stuff dug up. And a good way to explain away a lot of these giants, especially red-haired giants, is the going thing, is to call them Native Americans and give them to the Native Americans. And then, modern day academia doesn't want to touch it. They can't touch it to investigate. Once you get the university involved and public funding involved, I think you'd be amazed what people would be willing and not willing to investigate when their livelihood depends on it. That's why I love this shit. That's why I like talking about these strange things. I think it's all real. I think honestly, at this point, I think it's all real. Bigfoot, Dogman, poltergeists, UFOs, aliens, fairies, gnomes, dwarves, elves, the underworld, Hollow Earth. I think it's all real. Flat Earth and round Earth at the same time. I think your perception is the reality. I think your belief is the reality at this point. And I'm no longer like reserved in casual conversation to talk about this stuff. With people want to it is when people want to challenge you on your belief system when it comes to Sasquatch, Dogman, or poltergeist. There's a lot of evidence out there for this stuff. Whether or not they actually want to take the time to read or look it up is up to them. But for the most part, like my friend online, when presented with links about giants or articles about giants or strange beings, they challenge you in your belief system, but you present not necessarily evidence, but at least a path towards evidence, and they don't take it. They do not take the time or the initiative to investigate something that they just called stupid. And he's like, well, take a look at this and let me know what you think. They're not going to do it. They've already confirmed in their own mind that it doesn't exist. And presenting evidence to the contrary is not going to change their mind. They're not open-minded. They're not. They're not open-minded. They're not curious about this reality or history. They just want news and links and information that reconfirm their belief system. That's it. And since I believe in everything, I'm open to talking about all this crap. I'm a Democrat and Republican. I'm every party. I have no affiliation. I like talking about all this stuff. That's why I really want to get a flat earther on to talk about their position. That's why I like talking to people about these off the beaten path topics. It's interesting to me. I like to read about this stuff. I find it fascinating. All right, we should move on. We should move on to the next story. All right, this is a headline here. This comes from the blackvault.com. UFO type craft seen hauled on large semi-truck in Ponca City, Oklahoma. On June 3rd of 2018, a post appeared on Facebook that went viral. It was posted to, I'm not going to say her name, but it's listed here, Ashley something. The earliest post I could find is when this case file was written, and it shows a photograph of a UFO or saucer-like craft on the back of a semi, followed by 20 police cars. And you can see it right here. There's a picture. And, yeah, that looks like a UFO on the back of a semi-truck. Holy moly.
What is that thing?
It looks to be like a stereotypical UFO. So how long is your average 18-wheeler semi-truck? This thing looks, I would say, I'm just guessing, as long as that. And it is saucer-shaped. And this is going down the street. No big deal. Hey, people, we're just hauling a UFO down the road.
What the fuck is that?
So that is just insane. But it's got to be some sort of military test, some kind of military craft, I would assume, or it's part of a movie, some kind of movie set. And the analysis done by blackvault.com, which, by the way, is, as far as I'm concerned, a great site when it comes to UFO evidence and analysis. I guess I can play the video right here. It's only like 10 seconds. And we'll take a look at it.
Whoa.
There it is. He just said, whoa.
We're seeing some shit we ain't never seen before, kid.
Yes. It could be a drone. It could be a drone. I didn't see any wings, but it could be a drone. So the analysis is there was something eerily familiar when I saw this photograph make its round. When I am writing this report, the post has just about 20,000 shares and more than 7,000 likes and 3,000 comments. I recall seeing a post nearly identical to this a few years back, and I dug up a December 2011 video from a YouTuber, Alex Dieguez, in the same exact location as this posting, specifically Ponca City, Oklahoma. And there it is. That's the video I just played of a very similar object on a flatbed going down the street. Again, what's this thing? This UFO is going back and forth across Oklahoma? Can it fly?
Jay, we could get some big money for that if it's a fucking fish, buddy.
It's not a fish. It's a UFO. So what is this? In 2011, when this story was first circulated, it went viral too, with thousands of shares and likes. It was unknown what was seen that day, but it sparked various news stories and newspaper articles. That is until Brooks McKinney, senior manager of public relations for Northrop Grumman, closed the mystery. He told Life's Little Mystery is a project by a popular livescience.com website that the craft was a transport for the X-47B, according to Northrop Grumman. The X-47B is a tailless strike fighter-sized unmanned aircraft developed by Northrop Grumman as part of the U.S. Navy's Unmanned Combat Air System, commonly known as the UCAS. Under a contract awarded in 2007, the company designed, produced, and is currently flight testing 2 X-47B aircraft. In 2013, these aircraft were used to demonstrate the first ever carrier-based launches and recoveries by the autonomous, low observable, relevant, unmanned aircraft. Oh, jeez. So it's not a UFO. Well, I guess it is a UFO. It's an unidentified riding object. It's not flying. It's riding on a flatbed. But, Northrop Grumman is claiming this as a tailless, wingless, autonomous drone. Autonomous drone. They're using the word autonomous. But apparently it needs to be transported by 18-wheeler. Okay. There you go. There is, the link is in the description. You want to check this thing out. Although I'm not exactly sure. They're saying that's what this is. I'm kind of curious to see what exactly the point of this craft is. Here it is on screen. I'll bring it up. They have a whole wiki about the X-47B. And the 47B is a demonstration unmanned combat air vehicle designed for aircraft carrier-based operations. It first flew in 2011, and as of 2015, its 2 active demonstrators have undergone extensive flight and operational integration testing. So there it is. They got a whole wiki on here. How much does this thing cost? I'm curious. The cost of this project was initially funded under U.S. It was a $635 million contract awarded by the Navy in 2007. Wow. $600 million for this contract. By January 2012, the X-47B's total program cost had grown to an estimated $813 million. And they only supposedly have 2 of these motherfuckers out there. That's it. And almost, if you round up, it's $1 billion. I like to round up. Because what's $200 million between friends? Government funding for the X-47B program was to run out at the end of September 2013 with the close of the fiscal year. However, in 2014, Navy provided an additional $63 million for post-demonstration development. Hell. In February 2015, the Navy stated that the completion for private tenders for constructing the U-class fleet would begin in 2016, with the aircraft expected to enter service in early 2020s. So is there an additional contract coming? Because with this story that we just saw, this is a new post. So they're still testing? Because the end of the program for testing was supposed to be the end of 2013. They extended it in 2014. We're here in 2018. Are they still testing, or are they in the deployment phase? It's unclear. Where's all this additional money come from? We need an update to this wiki. Because you knew they had to have blown through that $63 million. I mean, that's like a month. Oh, boy. So are they getting ready to deploy it? I would say so. At this point, they're probably getting ready to deploy it. So in January 2017, the first X-47B departed NAS Pontiac or Punxsutawney River. Can't pronounce X's. Okay. It's unclear of the status of this program, other than it's still being tested and being driven around in Oklahoma. Maybe they're taking this thing to drive-in movie theaters. Maybe they're taking out the fast food because it's run out of funding, according to Wiki. So there's not much they can do with it. Maybe they're taking it to the kids' parties. How they're making some money back in this thing. It's like a bouncy balloon for kids' parties. Who knows? The Wiki's not clear. We got to move on.
Hey, John Boy.
Yes.
God damn it!
Does anybody remember laughter?
Does anybody remember laughter?
I hope so. Maybe not on this show. Maybe on the next show, on the Wednesday show. We will all remember laughter then. Possibly. 614-388-9109. And I'll be mostly happy to take your phone calls. I want to thank the chat for showing up and being part of the magic. It means a lot to me. It really does. I'm trying to read the chat, but I'm also trying to read. Well, I'm trying to glance at articles. I gave up reading last year. I'm glancing at articles, not really reading them. All right. Okay. I do have another fun article. It's a list. I love lists, and I hope you love lists too, because, oh boy, do we have a list to get down to. Yay! Oh, yes. Yay. Yay for lists. And yay for you. Yay for me. Okay. Let us go to 10. Maybe I should announce it. 10 shocking facts about the reptilian conspiracy. Reptilian? Okay, that works for me. Okay. All right.
Hello, what have we here?
We have 10 shocking facts about the reptilian conspiracy is what we have. And number 10, reptilians are on Time Magazine's top 10 most enduring conspiracy theories list. This is a list about conspiracies about the reptilians, for anybody who doesn't know. That's what we're reading down. In 2009, the Time list included details about the reptilians' appetite for human flesh, their responsibility for numerous terrorist attacks, and their ultimate desire to enslave the human race. Also mentioned are a few high-ranking politicians believed to be reptilians. Oh, that's nice. Sounds like a good list. Where can I get that list about who might be reptilian? It's in Time Magazine article. I bet Dick Cheney, he's got to be the number one reptilian out there. I cannot think of a more reptile-like creature than him. Obama? I don't know. Is he reptoid-like? Putin might be. He's all bald and hairless, like a reptile. All right, number 9. David Icke used to refuse to wear any color other than turquoise. How is this a reptilian conspiracy? Okay. And what's turquoise have to do with any of this? On a trip to ancient Inca ruins in 1991, Icke experienced an intense spiritual experience that he described as a complete change in his state of consciousness. He described a state intense pure energy and claimed to hear voices that whispered hidden truths. He emerged convinced that he was a new incarnation of Jesus Christ. And his insistence on wearing only the color turquoise came from his belief that it would allow the continuous flow of positive energy through him. He could then channel that energy more easily towards researching the extent of reptilians' rule over the world. Reptilians rule over the world. So, did David Icke really believe that he is Jesus Christ? That's an interesting theory.
Everything else is the life force known as the light. I mean, the Bible refers to the light. And within this light are various other energies which have certain gifts. And these other energies have a frequency that is the same as all the colors. And turquoise actually is the same frequency as an energy called love and wisdom. Therefore, when you wear that color, you attract it. When you wear black, you attract a color that is the opposite to love and all the things we wish to bring to the earth.
I wear a lot of black. Maybe I shouldn't. But I think it looks good on me. So, I'm with Ike there. Colors do have a frequency, so does sound. I don't discount that. Is him claiming to be Jesus Christ a thing? Maybe it is. They link to another list article, but I'll have to research that. But maybe I believe him. I like a lot of what Ike says. I think he's an interesting guy. If he wants to wear turquoise, let him. That's great. I love it. Cover yourself in velvet turquoise. You look great. Number 8. You could be half reptilian and not even know it. Or you could be at least part of the reptilian bloodline. Reptilians have been crossbreeding with select unsuspecting humans for millennia to create desired elite bloodlines that they can use to covertly control the world. Duh, I think everyone knows that. DNA from reptilians has passed down through generations, and some crossbreed even begin life as full-blooded humans. At later points in their lives, they're taken away to have reptilian DNA mixed with their own. They're returned to their normal lives with no memory of it. Diehard reptilian believers offer this as a real explanation behind UFO abductions and strange disappearances in which the person returns unable to recall what happened. I like this theory a bit because it actually kind of harkens back to the Vril Society that channeled mutant technology and reptilian Draco technology for the Nazis. Hey, Stan from Alaska, you are on the show.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Good. Just talking about the reptilian conspiracy.
Hey, I remembered your show was on here earlier, and then I got caught up doing something, and I was driving back from home, doing some errands and whatnot, going back to work, and the thing that triggered me to remind to call you was that they just said that we had this little storm that came through last night with a little bit of rain, but just a few miles north of here, they had some snow up this higher pass, like 4,000 feet elevation. And ironically, the amount of snow they had was 8 inches.
Oh, my Lord. What a magical number on this show.
Hello.
Yeah, well, thanks for calling in with that. That's a nice little inside thing for our show.
6?
No, not 6. It's 8.
So 7. Ties the show in well. You think about 8 inches, you think about OBDM.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone out there who listens to the show in a diehard fashion, every time you see the number 8, you can't help but to think 8 inches. That's just the way it goes. We get inside your head, and that's all you can think about anymore.
8. I just wish there was a place in Alaska called Springfield, but I don't think we have one.
Springfield.
Now, I would look that up again because I think almost every state in the union has a Springfield.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. I know Ohio does, Missouri, Massachusetts, I believe, or somewhere in the New England area. So, yeah. They're around.
Just about every state down there, but not up here.
They're around. They're around. What else you got on your brain tonight?
Let's see.
8 inches.
Yeah, I can't get it off my mind. That's all I got on my mind right now.
Well, let me ask you about since I've been reading about the reptilian conspiracy. What do you think about you're probably familiar with the David Icke conspiracy, and everyone probably is familiar with the reptilians. Oh, yeah. What about that they're actually the elite are actually part reptilian, as in they're part of a bloodline that is descended or from the reptilian UFO bloodline?
I think it's somewhat plausible. I come from the belief that, they're all, whatever you want to call them, Rephaim, Nephilim, fallen angels that, have crossbred with things. And if they can shape shift, interdimensionally come in and out of our reality, and if they want to present themselves as reptilians, I think they are some of the same characters that were working with the Nazis, even pre, World War II, with like the Thule Society and the Vril Society, stuff like that. I think it's very real that these are not just reptilians, but if they are, they're shapeshifters, if demons, whatever you want to call them, that are part of this universe, and I think that they are definitely evil guys. I'm not so sure about, I've heard anywhere from like it's 5 to 10 to 15 different alien races that are out there. You got the tall grays, the short grays, the whites, and all those, from David Icke and Corey Good and all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure how many actual real ones, how many different kinds are out there, but I think it's probably a lot more than we think it is.
It's probably more than 8.
8.
I would say it's more than 8. But I actually, when it comes to different races, I heard that Philip Corso, Colonel Corso, who wrote the book The Day After Roswell, and has been on the UFO circuit out in Europe until his death. I would say about maybe a few years ago. I don't know exactly, but he went on record and said that he believed that there was anywhere from 52 to 56 different extraterrestrial races out there that he knew about, and that's just in our local area. God knows anywhere else in the universe, other galaxies. So, and then you have Corey Good that comes out and talks about different density beings, types of creatures that you can't even perceive in like 3D terms because you have to go up to a higher level of consciousness to see them. So there could be far more. Who knows?
2?
Maybe 4.
Maybe 4?
At least. At the very least. But I do like
I bet at least 8 of them are down in Mexico.
Oh, probably. A couple in China.
China.
Yeah. There's probably at least 4.
Maybe 4?
You need to grab Canada, too. I heard Trump say Canada over the weekend, talking about Trudeau and his, he wasn't talking about his fake eyebrows, but, that became a big topic there on the internet here briefly. So,
yeah.
I thought that was kind of hilarious.
Yeah. I love the Justin Trudeau lost his eyebrow on air. It's just ridiculous.
Maybe
so
4?
On those other races and stuff like that. So I did hear a guy a few weeks ago on our local radio, one of our local radio stations, and he was talking about anti-gravity technology and that he has confirmation that they are doing mining on some asteroids for gold out in the asteroid belt. And he was dead serious. He said, yeah, we've had anti-gravity technology given to us since the late 1880s, 1890s. And they are actively mining gold out in the asteroid belt right now.
I can buy that. That this super secret technology has been given to corporations to, help their bottom line. And, in exchange for providing and developing this technology, this anti-gravity technology for the U.S. government in the secret space program, they can use it on their own to mine asteroids and make a nice profit. And I think Elon Musk is gonna run up against some competition. They're letting him do his thing right now. They're letting him get into orbit, and they're letting him do some stuff that draws attention to the private sector doing this type of activity. But he just canceled his reevaluating his tourist trip that he's going to offer people to go around the moon and back. And so I suspect he's going to be forced into a situation where he's going to be confronted with the UFO phenomenon, and I'm really kind of interested to see how he's going to respond to it.
Yeah, I think he's also going to get double-crossed. Hey, I got to jump off here, but hey, if you could do me a solid, maybe think about either tonight or for the Wednesday show, doing a Unsolved Mysteries, talking about Bob Lazar using your London Cockney accent.
Oh, God. Okay, complex. I'll see if I can remember it. Hopefully someone in Slack will remind me. Yes, I will put it on the docket.
Okay, because I think for your London Cockney accent, it is really good. I think you can. When you were reading that one article the other day, that was it almost felt spot on.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm working on my accents. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Stan. Have a good night.
All right, see you, Mike.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you for your call.
All right, back to a few more of this listing. I'm going to be getting out of here in a few minutes, but I want to read down a few more of these reptilian conspiracies. Number 6 is reptilians came from both other planets and other dimensions. We kind of talked about that with the Vril Society and Dracos. Anunnaki reptilians traveled to Earth from solar systems surrounding the stars Draco and Zeta Reticuli. God, just trying to get into this stuff. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air. Yeah.
Hey, Big Mike. This is Leon.
Hey, Leon. What's going on?
Serenity now!
What is on your mind tonight?
Hey, where's my man Joe?
Joe he doesn't usually do night talk with me. He is on the Wednesday and Saturday show with me.
Well, you tell him I miss him.
I will. I will. He'll be happy to hear that.
I just heard you talking to that other caller about and had the so-called flying saucer or whatever being going down the highway, and the other caller talking about the asteroid belt and all these different 57 varieties and all this stuff. And I just have another outlook on this whole thing, and I'm not by any means a flat earther. Because I don't know, like we talked about this before, I don't know exactly, what it is, what if we're on a globe or what we're on, But I tend to think that these so-called extraterrestrials are, I wouldn't say demons, but I would say they're some kind of entity. And it's just a facade, and it's not really extraterrestrials. And I think the government's happy for us to talk about it being extraterrestrials, and happy for us to talk about going out into space, and mining asteroids, because I don't think we can get into space. And I just think that all these things come from a different dimension, and they come from this so-called realm that we're on that I don't think is evolved. What do you think?
I think I'm halfway there with you. I think that some of these extraterrestrials, they're real beings like us. They exist and they procreate, but they're much more advanced. But on the other side, I also with some of the abduction experiences and some of the eyewitness testimony, it does seem as though that they can have a facade, as if they can read our minds and they can project what we think that they are. And whether you want to call them demons or beings that aren't really displaying their true nature, I think that could be true. And with everything, like, I would be wary of any highly advanced civilization come bearing gifts, saying they're going to save us from ourselves. You hope that's true, but that's not the way that nature works. There's a yin and yang. There is a light and dark to everything. And I think I'm with you that the government probably is happy with us talking about them as being from different planets, because that puts some sort of distance between us and them. We could always ask them politely to go back home. In our childlike mind, if they wind up being interdimensional, which I clearly think is the case in some of the instances, especially when you read about Skinwalker Ranch, that brings a whole different element to this, which is way more exotic and scary, I think, to the normal public, which they're not from Mars. They're not from Zeta Reticuli. They're living right here and can access our dimension anytime they damn well please, which is much more scary. They can teleport. They can go between different worlds. We can't have that. We can't really understand that concept because it hasn't really been explained to us how that might work and what that means for our mind. You ever see a horror movie, Event Horizon?
Yeah.
Where they had this ship, and it went out to the far reaches of our solar system, and they got out there. I think it was close to a black hole, and they started encountering these different realities. And it was this ship was somehow able to interact with these other dimensions, and through its power system or warp drive or something like that. And these other dimensions, they weren't happy. They weren't like a great alternate, like happy-go-lucky alternate reality or dimension. It was evil and bad. I think you got to be cautious when dealing with this stuff. Ask. And if you encounter one of these entities, ask, are they a being of light? Are they good-willed? And hopefully they'll tell the truth.
The weird part about it is that in a lot of these cases that you hear about, when people tend to pray, these things go away. Anywhere from this Dogman you were talking about, which, believe me, I've heard so much witness testimony. I have a lot of time on my hands, and I listen to a lot of different things. And the witness testimony and the emotional tone of hundreds of eyewitness accounts I've heard of, this entity does exist. And again, I'm by no means a holy roller, but I really do believe that the government wants us to believe that we came down through evolution and that there's no God and we live on this ball where there's an infinite universe and there's things out there that are better than us. And I feel that they're holding on to that just to like push our spirituality down. Same reason why, they say that mushrooms and acid aren't any good, and they've kept that away from us because it expands our mind, and so does pot, and they keep that away from us because, it makes us think and it makes us smart and it makes us, realize that there's more. I don't know if you've ever done acid, but when you do it, you just change. You change about the way that you look at everything, and I just think the government wants to dumb us down. And I really believe that these entities are coming from another dimension and that that there's no outer space. And this whole NASA thing, I mean, they just lie and lie. And they've been caught in so many lies. And I really believe that the space station isn't up there. And I know I'm sounding goofy and like a conspiracy theorist, but
yeah, that's what I do.
I've just seen so much evidence that I just don't buy a lot of this stuff the government's throwing at us,
I'm with you, and I don't call it goofy or anything like that. I'm with you on the praying thing. So there's a lot of eyewitness testimony. There's a documentary on Mothman put out by Small Town Monsters, and there's a lot of witness testimony in there. And one that rang true to me was this older gentleman who was confronted by the Mothman, this very dark entity that was able to fly. And when he started to pray, he said this thing almost dematerialized in front of him. And whether you pray to Jesus Christ or Buddha, I think you're right that the government, maybe we can't even just say the government. We should say the control structure, because governments change.
Right.
But there's a control structure that wants to filter our reality and filter our possibilities or our thought of possibilities and what our own potential is spiritually and with our consciousness.
Right.
And I think it's much more powerful than what they let on. And I think they know that.
Wasn't it you that said the other night about DMT talking to you when you take it? Was that you guys talking about that?
I don't. I didn't talk about that, but I have heard that it's not necessarily.
Joe said something about when someone took DMT, the first thing that happens is it says, "I'm glad you found this technology." I thought it was on your show.
It could have been. If we said it in passing. I've never done DMT. I've only heard Joe Rogan talk to people about that experience, and some people believe that is the chemical, the chemical itself, the mushroom. If you take mushrooms, the mushrooms talking to you is able to tap into a larger consciousness. It's a bizarre and fascinating subject, and I hope more science is willing to delve into these subjects. And human consciousness is not very well understood, where it comes from, how it operates, and it's tough for science to wrap itself around it at times, since it's not really tangible. It's hard to measure. But I think hopefully within the next few years, maybe 15, we'll have a lot more to say about it, and maybe hopefully science will open up and be a little bit more open-minded than it has been the past 100 years.
Well, this power structure that you're right, it isn't the government. I'm generalizing, but the power structure you're talking about certainly doesn't want us to have, coming anywhere out of our shell.
No.
And they've proven that time and time again by the way they treat us like kids.
Absolutely.
It's just a bad situation, and I hope science looks at it that way. But for science to be as afraid as it is to even acknowledge something like Bigfoot, that I'm telling you is out there, and in a lot more quantity than people think. It tells me something right there. Just like you said about evolution, I was watching something on. I mean, evolution is just such a stupid thing. I just can't. I don't know how they got us believing in all this stuff, but people just take it for granted, and they got us in this money thing where two people work, they come home, they do this, they do that. I just retired and I have a lot more time to delve into a lot of different things. And it's just a shame that we're so caught up in material things, and I am too. I mean, it's just awful that we can't explore more than we do, and we're dumbed down day after day after day.
People have to be willing to take that leap, and you're right. They work us to death. We want things. I like nice things too, but also I like to talk about these topics. It fascinates my whole personality. It fascinates me. It fascinates my mind. It keeps me occupied. I daydream about this stuff. It's, to me, like, what we talk about on this show and our conversation right here is what we should be doing on a daily basis. Posing questions, talking about the nature reality, and questioning what exactly we're being told, because we can all agree that what we're being told probably on a daily basis, at least about the nature reality, isn't true. Because, just take a look around. I mean, we get treated like kids because to a certain degree we act that way. Just take a look at social media.
Exactly.
Look how childish politics is. Look how childish a lot of people on both sides of the aisle in America. It's very childish. A lot of name calling, not a lot of conversation. There's not. People throw names around, and we act like children.
And you know as well as I do that the people who are probably listening to us talk right now are people who listen to this show and are a little bit more open-minded. But someone who happens to come across this, I know they're thinking, boy, these guys are really, really far out. They're really, they're lost. And that's what's really sad. I mean, that people aren't willing to open their minds, like you said, and to talk about this kind of stuff. And
That's right.
It's just, it's really heartbreaking. It really is.
Yeah, it is. But hey, it's still fun to talk about it. And occasionally, the conversation will spark interest in somebody who was otherwise kind of closed off to this stuff.
For sure. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing this, and I wouldn't be calling up to talk about it. Hey, one more thing before I go.
Yeah.
I don't know whether or not you've ever heard Linda Godfrey do an interview at all.
I probably have.
She is a sweetheart, and I know she's been on so many smaller shows. I know that if you guys wanted to get her on a Saturday afternoon or something, to talk to her for a little bit, she's fascinating, and you might get in touch with her and try to get her on, because I bet you any money she'd come on your show.
Oh, good idea. You know what? I'll try to reach out to her. I've read a few of her books, and I certainly like what she has to say. And she just has such a great history of investigations and research. So I'd be honored if she came on. Well, I lost you, buddy. Is that? I lost you there. Our Skype cut out a little bit there.
No, as small, But anyway, listen.
Yeah.
Try to get her on, and I'm going to be listening, and tell Joe I said hello.
I will. Thank you very much. I got to get out of here, pal. Bye. Solid call. There's a lot of people. Let me rewind that. I got to start off that outro properly. There we go. Oh, okay. Getting out of here. There's a lot of people I'm going to nominate to the Cave of Excellence. A lot of good callers out there. Stan's already in the Cave of Excellence. That guy, I think, is Bill, who just called in. He's got to get in there. Big time. If I misremembered your name, please correct me. Jordan's got to get in. Teddy Spaghetti has got to get in the Cave of Excellence. A lot of people got to get in there. The woman from Kentucky, she's got to get in there. She's called up with some good stuff, like her perspective. That's
what I do.
I wanted that one. Yeah,
that's what I do.
When we talk about conspiracy theories, that's what I do.
That's what I do.
We talk about the paranormal. We talk about all that stuff. If you got a friend who's a flat earther, would love to talk with them. Let them know we're nice people on the show. Love to talk with them. I like to talk with people with off the beaten path belief systems. Want to get their perspective on the universe and the nature of reality. Probably pretty good for night talk, right? Gonna call Linda Godfrey. Gonna see if she's gonna come on the show. Didn't get a chance to finish that Reptilian article, that list, but it's linked in the description if you care to read the rest of it. And I'm sure Joe and I will be back on Wednesday for another podcast. A lot of topics to get to over there. Oh, I just know that there are. I want to thank everyone for showing up, listening live. It means a lot to me that you are all listening, calling in, being a part of the magic. If you want the audio-only version of this show, you can subscribe on Patreon. Just go to obdmpod.com. And you can donate if you want to help support the show. Subscribe to the Patreon. $3 a month will get you all the audio-only night talk. And $5 a month will get you some other bonus content that we use for the show and whatnot. It's just a whole lot of fun. It's just a whole lot of fun, okay?
Okay.
All right. All right, thanks, everyone. Talk to you next time.
Hell yeah.